Okay, folks, we keep hearing from the White House, particularly Jen Psaki, that building the Keystone pipeline won't lower energy prices. Okay, we also have seen from the White House that even go so far as say that they've been recruiting these TikTok influencers to help craft this narrative that this is somehow unilaterally Putin price hike. They're branding it as a hashtag. So what is actually going on? Is it going to get worse? And what can we expect? That's all we want to know. That's all the American people want to know. Just be honest with us. This is something that is profoundly void from this administration and that podium. So let's do some economy stuff, folks. Let's start with dispelling any myths that the rise in prices and our lack of goods being in the economy are actually solely Putin's fault.
Since Putin began his military buildup on Ukrainian borders, just since then, the price of the gas at the pump in America went up 75 cents. And with this action, it's going to go up further. I'm going to do everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home.
We have to address the Putin price hike, gas hike. It has, since he started amassing troops earlier this year, the price at the pump has gone up 75 cents.
The reason why the price of gas is going up is not because of steps the president has taken. They are because President Putin is invading Ukraine.
So if Jen Psaki were a Republican, Facebook would have flagged this post and censored it for, quote, missing context. It's missing a lot of context. This is folks, we have a price chart out there. You can easily look this up, and it just shows the price of gas and how it's gone up during Biden's thing. Prices when Joe Biden was elected were about $2.10 a gallon. When Putin invaded Ukraine, they were already up to $3.50. He said 70 cents a gallon. Yeah, gas was up $1.40 before Putin even crossed any border. The recent 60 to 70 cent rise in the price at the pump is maybe affected by Putin, but who in the academia world and the liberal politic world would like to know why? Because prior to this invasion, and Biden was rapidly, before Biden, we were rapidly producing more oil. Trump increased oil production almost 40% in 3 years. Then we had COVID. As you can see, like if you go look at these charts, production plummeted. Despite Trump's opposition, many states shut down a significant portion of their economy. Mind you, this was done by government. Almost no private business willingly was like, yeah, we're going to shut down. And this included the oil industry. As a result, demand also went down because people weren't out on the roads commuting to their jobs. But when Joe Biden came in, he instilled some fairly radical green policies that stopped a significant amount of domestic oil production, folks. Net result, as the economy reopened, more people going to work, we had to re-import more oil, some from Russia. Higher demand, lower supply, costs skyrocketed. But again, not all Putin's fault. So now what? The White House is perfectly content with just pointing the finger, but they're not really doing anything about it. I mean, they want to import oil from Venezuela to tell Nicolas Maduro, a leader that we don't even recognize as the leader, to turn on their pumps and supply more. I mean, he's not even a legitimate leader to us. But they refuse to do there's two things that we have exclusive control over right now that will guarantee to help the problem: drill and transport, neither of which appear on the White House platform.
Would President Biden ever undo his executive order that stopped the construction of the Keystone XL pipeline?
Are you suggesting that would solve the gas prices issue?
Well, do you think that that would maybe affect prices faster than getting the whole country off of fossil fuels?
I actually don't think it would. The Keystone was not an oil field. It's a pipeline.
Ooh, Jen. Okay, so reopening the construction of the Keystone pipeline would in fact impact prices today. This proves that Jen Psaki really doesn't understand the concept of the futures market. All right, gas bought at the pump is a physical commodity, folks, in the here and now. You're purchasing it right now at the current price. But how many of you have ever been asked by your heating oil company at home if you want to purchase for the year, locking in your price right now for a year? That's called an oil future. This is how most companies that have significant consumption purchase their fuel: airlines, shipping companies, tankers, etc. If you believe the price of oil is going to go up, you purchase now. You lock in your supply at a year at the current prices, because you will then, in effect, save money if they do go up. But if you have a reason to believe that the price of oil will go down because of, I don't know, the potential of an additional future supply that would arrive in the U.S. upon completion of a pipeline that rhymes with Keystone, then that would signal to the market that a greater future oil supply was on the way and would reduce the current upward pressure on the markets. The same goes for drilling on public lands. It's all well and good that the Biden administration keeps touting, well, we have 9,000 approved drilling leases. But that's only part of the drilling economics, and oil companies, they need to be profitable. They need to start these multi-year projects to be profitable. If they think the Biden administration will yank those leases at any time, which they have signaled they would, then they won't drill. Or worse, they'll do so at a much higher price point. Now, if the market sees a clear commitment from the Biden administration to increase domestic oil production, the oil producers will be able to invest in restoring prior oil production, also bringing new stuff online, and supplies will go up. I.e., it wouldn't matter. Russia doesn't matter, because that 3 to 5% of our oil that we actually import from them, we would have gotten and replaced domestically. The bottom line, if you bring more supply online, oil prices will go down. I know economics are hard for liberals, but we're going to try.